Hello, everyone. It's Tom Ziegelbauer. How are you doing today? Wanted to go over a quick recap of a number of things that I learned or reaffirmations of an event that I was speaking at this weekend. I was down in Miami for the 0 to 100% event that was being put on by the company that I work with, 0%.com. So if you're interested in checking out more business coaching and scaling your business, start there. See about booking a time with one of the people on our team in order to be able to do that for your business. So I'm going to mainly be talking about the power of language and how that impacts your thinking and other people's thinking at the same time. So we had a mastermind event on Sunday where we had about 30 people there that were making over 250,000 a year. And the bulk of that was allowing them to write down the top 3 pain points in their business. And then the 6 of us then were up front, the leadership team from 0%, were answering those questions. And one of the questions that came up, I thought was very, very powerful was, hey, I'm in this insurance business and I keep hiring these old people and they're not very good at technology. So what should I do about that? And I raised my hand. Yeah, since I've been in financial services, I've run financial services brokerages before, and I just gave them the simple answer. I said, stop hiring old people. Back fairly early in my career, I was trying to hire similar types of people to myself. I mean, I'm not in my 20s anymore. I will freely admit that. However, I was, I guess, trying to duplicate myself. And one of the challenges with a lot of younger people, especially in financial services, is that they feel like, oh, if I were older, I would have so much more credibility and I would be able to do so much better. And I would hire those people. I hired a bunch of them, probably hundreds in my first or thousands over my first couple of years in business. What I did find, and a great mentor of mine, Brian Mayman, pointed the same thing out to me. Stop hiring old people, hire people in their 20s and men because they are more hungry. If you look across his leadership team, now he makes $1.2 million a year in his financial services business. So that's probably somebody that you want to listen to. And that was a fundamental shift because I hired who I thought could help me grow my business. But that one fundamental thing, hey, focus in on this, know who you're looking for. And we talked about this a number of times at the event where we were talking about an avatar in terms of your business and whatever that may be, for what you're selling or your services. Who does that person look like? How much do they make? Where are they from? Framing that person. So when you are going out and you're selling, you have that person or that idea of a person identified. Same thing goes into when you're looking for good people. And I'm talking about the rule, not the exceptions to the rule. So what really made this powerful was we get on a yacht. This person comes up to me and they're telling me more about their story and why that they hire older people, and they're going to talk to another person on their team, on the leadership team, about fixing this and fixing that. And so he mentioned the fact that the reason that he hires older people is because they already have their licenses and they have some experience in the industry. And so therefore he doesn't have to train them. And then he said this magic word, and this magic word is something that you should strive to. I have over years tried to develop a habit of eliminating this word from my vocabulary. And he goes, but because they're older and because they're experienced, I tend to find that they don't listen to me. Let me repeat that. Blah, 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 blah is the reason why, but they tend not to listen to me. This, there's a book called Sleight of Mouth. I don't even know if it's in print anymore, but it talks about the power of language and framing and chunking and a bunch of those other things where NLP basically grew out of this particular book. So if you can't find that book, go read up and watch and listen to a bunch of NLP stuff, neuro-linguistic programming, because language is so important in terms of not only the information that you're communicating to other people, but how they're receiving it. So I was in the middle of about to apologize to this gentleman that maybe I didn't listen to the full situation, and it was a snap judgment in terms of my recommendations that I gave to him, like stop hiring old people, right? That will just fix your problem. Well, guess what? Blah, 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 blah. But is a canceler word. So everything before that, but basically is canceled. It eliminates that, or it's almost like it's not true to the listener and to the person that is putting it out there, because this is all excuses. Everything after that is then maybe how you're trying to reframe that to the person who is listening or receiving it. So what did I tell him? So what you just told me, because of the but there, blah, 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 but all that's canceled out. But they don't listen to me. Well, so the problem now, we're focused in on that. They don't listen to me. So what's the solution? Stop hiring old people. And then we talked about my experience and how, again, I talked about Brian and how he turned the shape of my business around, because I had been doing that for years and years and years. And then we also talked about, again, I had a vision in terms of hiring 20-year-olds who were hungry, who we could train up. Yes, they would have to get their licenses. Do you want a dead wood that's sitting out over here and not doing anything, and they look impressive, or people who actually take action? And what I found is a lot of people get comfortable, especially the older that they get, and you have to be mindful of that. Now, I was telling this whole story to my wife, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way. You can't be discriminatory in your business and go, sorry, that's ageist, and you're not going to hire those people because you won't find people like myself for your business. That was a question that was asked to me over and over and over in either private conversations or even from the stage that we were talking when we're answering all the people at that event. They said, why are you have all of this experience. What drew you to 0%? And you can't be sexist in that you can't just focus in on just men. However, I had a vision in terms of these things. I also saw the successful people in financial services that were doing very well, and their teams look like this. Now, I will tell you this, women in financial services are pit bulls, and they won't let your leg go if they get attached to it. They are phenomenal people. What I want you to take away from this is one thing, that power of but and the power of language. Try to develop a habit of maybe replacing that. And that's one of the things that they teach you in NLP. And one of the things that they teach you in this Sleight of Mouth book is to avoid that word but, a way to condition yourself in that as you were approaching da 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 da, and then you can reframe it. Instead of saying but, you can say however, and then continue on your statement. That will actually frame and change the way that you finish that statement. Because if I take that same thing and I go, so the reason I hire a bunch of financial services people who are older is because they have their licenses already and they're experienced. However, that they don't necessarily listen to me because I'm a younger person in this particular business. Now that doesn't really fit together. So before your mind will train you, however, and then it will actually push it into a positive frame. If you're doing something like that, what I try to do as much as possible, I try to avoid but and however, because you can also follow into a trap where the end of that can be also a negative statement. So try to eliminate but, try to eliminate however as much as you can. And so also sometimes I second guess myself like some other people, but I just knew in the heart of hearts when I told that person stop hiring older people, that was the right answer for him because I've been through that experience myself. I do appreciate that he shared that other stuff with me, but at the end of the day, I said it. But at the end of the day, and I did it for a reason. Um, at the end of the day, here's what I think we all came away with was not listening, wanting to justify a situation, and it's going to take some additional rewiring in order to be able to um, get themselves out of that mindset of if you want to be successful, you have to make a change no matter what. So, and some of that takes some rewiring of processes that you've developed habits in. And now's the time to break that habit. So hopefully this message helps you guys today eliminate but from your language, daily language. If you received value from this talk here today, please hit that like button below. Also, there's a little guy down in the corner of your screen. You can click on that and then subscribe to my YouTube channel. I definitely am going to be putting more content out at least twice a week now. We are on a content schedule of twice a week. So I look forward to seeing you on more of my messages that I'm freely giving out to you guys. If there are particular topics or you have specific questions about the things that I am talking about, please put those down in the comments below. I look forward to speaking with you and interacting with you. And remember this, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Have a great day.